ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Now today is an extremely exciting day because I finally got the final piece to finishing what I want to do with the Waterbox tank. And that is my custom-made Geo's Reef Sump. So I'm so excited to unbox this, check this baby out, get this installed. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. As you might have guessed, I am extremely stoked today because I finally got this custom Geo's Reef Sump. I was kind of working with him months ago designing this and trying to figure out like kind of the perfect design to go with my setup. And match all the colors, everything. I've always done, kind of glass tanks. I've never done like a true custom sump. So I'm excited for this. It's like a whole new adventure and it's gonna look absolutely amazing. So let's get this baby unboxed and check it out. I feel like a little kid at Christmas morning right now. This is the first time I'm gonna be seeing this beautiful thing in person. You guys ready for it? Oh. It's definitely packaged well. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. Oh. Refugium lid. Give you the quick rundown on this. My drain's gonna come into here. Got probe holders and it's gonna flow into this. Now, as you guys know, I love my Clarity, I love my filter rollers. So this one has one built into the sump. So this whole compartment right here, built-in filter Clarity style roller, which is gonna sit on top of it. Super cool. I still got another box of some add-on parts for it. Drains come in, return pump comes out. Lids for all my chambers, which is gonna keep all the smells, everything kind of contained. Happy wife. Got built-in heater holders. Whew. Now I went with the gray and blue. This is gonna match my plumbing. It kind of matches the ReefDudes logo, so super duper stoked. Let's find the rest of the parts to get this baby put together. I've got a built-in reactor. This is one thing I see Geo do on a lot of his sumps, which is really cool because it sits right in here and will feed off the return pump. Just a nice tight little kind of way to do all your reactor built in. Solid look. I'm extremely excited for this if you guys can't tell, but it's gonna be beautiful. You guys have no idea how awesome this sump is. So really cool thing. Big shout out to Geo for helping make this happen because this is fully customized to my equipment, to my tank, to what I want to run, my layout, which is absolutely amazing. I did gray on the sides and all the top. So gray and blue, which is gonna be the same color as the plumbing I'm gonna install on there. We got our 2.25" drains that come in. The Waterbox actually has 40 mil or whatever the equivalent is in metric, so I gotta adapt that. So those main drains will come in here. I got all my probe holders right in the first chamber. Got a nice little lid for it. Take all the plastic wrap off in a bit. Things are gonna flow into this big chamber here. So if you look inside of this is where your dirty roll is gonna be. So if there's any little bits of smells or anything, it's gonna be inside of there, fully contained. My wife is absolutely gonna love that feature. Now inside of here is where the filter roll is going to be. So you can kind of see that similar design to kind of how the other one has. Look at, you can pull the whole thing out. You got to clean it, maintain it, fully removable. All comes out. Now, Geo did include this foam for me, just in case if ever I run out of a filter roll or for some reason I want to change it, this filter roll or the sponge is still going to trap all the particles. So it's kind of like the backup plan if for whatever reason I don't use the filter roller, but I love my Clarity, so I can't see that happening. But the whole thing comes out, easy to maintain, easy to work on. Buttons it all up nice and tightly, and of course, we got the wonderful little lid for it. So such amazing attention to detail, I love it. Now, like the real one, you got a little bypass. There's a bypass door in here. So if I don't want 100% filtered, I can change that. We got our overflow if it ever got plugged up. Next chamber over. So we got our little thing. So on the bottom, these little doors, if we want to slide out the bottom, are acrylic rods that hold it in. So pop out the bottom to clean it. It's a whole thing you can take apart and clean. Super duper cool. Fills up. This is going to be my skimmer chamber. And there's a bunch of holes through here. We'll flow through the neck. So I got an adjustable baffle on the side. So I can use that to control my water height for the skimmer. A little sponge in there just to clear anything up. We've got heaters in here, so check this out. So we got built-in heater holders. So the heaters are going to be inside the refugium. It goes in the bottom, so this could be a nice long refugium. On the side, we've got a few extra ports, so If I'm running reactors, calcium reactors, dosing lines, all that can drip back into this chamber. So holes for our heaters, got little bulkheads for putting reactors, returning it back to the sump, got lots and lots of dosing lines. Water will then flow over into this chamber. This will be kind of for the reactor, you can dump into there. Little last filter, make sure no Chaeto gets into your tank. Next over, we have our return chamber. So nice big return chamber. Again, we got more probe holders in here, so lots of stuff we can hook up. On here, we got our thing if we want to do float valves or any little type of adapters, got that on the side here. We have more dosing lines, so these will likely use these to suck water out for automatic water changes or for sampling for like the Alcatronic, that will go there. So the return will plumb back off, it will hook up to this guy, which will bolt in there nicely, and that can be if I want to run carbon or GFO or anything. Such a beautiful sump. Just the fact of having all these lids on the sump is really cool. Like just no more humidity in the stand, no more risk of splashing or anything, no funky smishy fishy smells coming from it. Really, really love having all these little lids and sealed up chambers everywhere. I think that's super cool. So a couple other things that are gonna go with this. I also got a custom calcium reactor to match it. So I've already kind of pre-sold, made a deal on my Vertex reactor. That's gonna be going away soon. We'll probably save that one for next week's install. And for now, we're gonna do the sump. And I also got a really cool thing I'm gonna try, which is a cryptic reactor. One of the ways to do refugium is doing like a cryptic zone. And that's exactly what this is for. So this is the Geo's cryptic. And basically gonna fill it up full of biomedia. So something like marine pure balls, or I'll probably do the Brightwell bricks in there for the balls, but fill this baby up to the top. It's gonna be full of biomedia. No lights in there except for your little viewing windows, check on once in a while. And it's gonna be full of good kind of denitrification bacteria and hopefully lots of life, and it's gonna be a sweet little addition to the sump. Okay, let's start ripping the other one apart. I'm excited to get this installed. Got most of the gear out now. I keep finding more and more stuff adding the citric acid bath. Sump's a little bit of a mess, so it's gonna get a really good cleaning later once we get things taken out. First is trying to go through, make sure all my equipment, everything's nice and pristine to add back into the new one. Okay, the sump is almost drained. This has been drained for a while, so it's gonna pop off the doors because we're gonna need every inch of that space to make sure this baby slides in. And we're also gonna have to disconnect the plumbing. So there's a few unions up here we're gonna take off. A little catch bucket for any water in the pipes that drips out. Now before the new one goes in, I'll just want to wipe down any bits of salt creep, any dust, get her back to her pristine shape. Now this is going to be the moment of truth. Everything's cleaned out, ready to put this in. Now hopefully this fits, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a sad day. It means I've buggered up my measurements, so. Beautiful. It fits. Yes. Thankfully, this beautiful sump fits. I was a little bit worried, not gonna lie, but she made it. All right. So now we're gonna install the bulkhead for the return pump. It already comes with a nice adapter to hook right up to the reactor, so that will make it nice and easy. So this guy just pop in, thread in the bottom, and this for the reactor, we'll just screw into it and turn the reactor flow just up and down. So nice and easy. All right, so I cut these, again, just a quick little sand just to get rid of that little burr of an edge that you get on it. So I'm gonna start with clear primer. It just softens it and makes things go together a little easier. If you buy the normal stuff, it will be like purple or kind of a colored. I always like to use clear, especially if you're using a colored pipe, just because it looks so much better. Get it in and give a slight little twist. That one was a nice good joint. There we go, slid right in. Now we gotta use our adapter pipes to convert it from metric to standard, which are these guys. Now Geo Sumps come with these little sleek little refugium lights from Reef, so this is what we're going to be using for refugium. You got two different lines on there, one's of cool white, one's of warm white, and that's going to sit just above the refugium chamber here. We also got these little matching kind of legs that will screw into the side of the sump. Got little matching blue screws to go on either side. Next on the list is to get the cryptic installed. And the cryptic's basically a reactor full of biomedia. It's like adding that ton of extra live rock space to the tank. So we got this guy full of media, and we're gonna plumb this one in off that little return pump kind of nozzle we put. And on the right hand side, there's 2 ports we can put in for putting returns back into the sump. So figure out where this guy's gonna slide in, but it's gonna be somewhere in this right hand cabinet. This guy's gonna come up and over the wall for the output of our reactor. Let's get our 1/2-inch soft tubing on, make sure to put on a safety clamp. I think I'm also gonna make some kind of a little hanger to hold the hose up here with these wire clips, just to button it up and keep it nice and neat. And she's installed. Now the only last thing to consider is there's probably an extra couple gallons of water in there. So we're gonna have to add that to the system to let it fill the reactor. So we finally got everything installed and it looks absolutely fantastic. Just having all these little chambers for everything, got little lids on it, love it. Got the big monster gate valve, so it's super easy to kind of tune and adjust things. Comes down, goes into the Clarity filter roller. Now this is a custom one, so we have a ton of material in there, and it really utilizes that space like to its full potential. Come over next, we got a nice big skimmer chamber, and then our refugium. Got the little Reef Brights LED installed, very, very, very bright. In the back, I got 2 BRS, I believe they're 300 watt heaters. And we come around, we can see it overflows through here. We got a nice little sponge. This is also where the reactor comes out. And then it flows into the return pump chamber. From there, I got the ATK in there, got all my probe holders, all my lines from the side here. So for automatic water change, testing, all that's over there. So the return pump is actually feeding everything now. So the return pump comes over, feeds the reactor, and it's also feeding the cryptic, which if you look up, you can see this valve. So I put it on a kind of a union ball valve type of deal. That way, if I want to change it, add UV or do anything else funky, it gives me options in the future. And that comes over and feeds our cryptic reactor. Now that's hosting all our biomedia. Now this is going to change a little bit in this chamber for probably later on this week or next week whenever I get the rest of my calcium reactor media. I'm going to unbox and set up the new calcium reactor. So that's going to make everything all nice and match and just come together really, really well. Now that was a solid day's project, but I'm absolutely thrilled with the results and I think it looks amazing. So really, really stoked. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, if you did, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next video.